Welcome, brave souls, to another episode of U.S. Horror Stories. I'm Ben, and today we are delving into fake cop horror story. Before we dive into our spine-chilling U.S. horror stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This way, you won't miss any of our terrifying tales. The town of Ravenshade slept peacefully beneath the cloak of night, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests. Moonlight bathed the cobblestone streets, casting long shadows that whispered of hidden mysteries. In this seemingly idyllic haven, where everyone knew each other's name, an air of tranquility reigned supreme. As the first light of dawn touched the rooftops, the townsfolk emerged from their homes, ready to embrace another day of simple pleasures. Children laughed, birds sang, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee lingered in the crisp morning air. It was a place where the passage of time felt almost suspended, untouched by the chaos beyond the town's borders. But unbeknownst to the inhabitants, a subtle undercurrent of unease began to weave its way through the fabric of Ravenshade. Odd occurrences, dismissed as mere coincidences, were the precursors to a sinister presence that would soon shatter the illusion of serenity. Local businesses opened their doors, their owners oblivious to the impending disruption. The quaint police station, a symbol of safety for the townspeople, stood with an air of authority. Little did they suspect that within its walls, a malevolent force was preparing to exploit the very trust they placed in the uniform. Ravenshade, with its charming facade and closely knit community, was about to become the stage for a dark performance. The residents, blissfully unaware, continued their daily routines, unaware that shadows crept silently through the corners of their peaceful haven. As the sun rose higher in the sky, a tale of horror and deception unfolded, painting the town in hues of fear and uncertainty. The first crack in Ravenshade's facade appeared on a quiet Tuesday night. A flickering street lamp cast eerie shadows on the deserted streets as a distant howl of a lone wolf echoed through the darkness. In the dim glow, a figure cloaked in darkness moved stealthily, leaving behind a trail of unsettling disturbances. A resident, Mrs. Hawthorne, reported strange noises outside her window, an inexplicable tapping that seemed to mimic a rhythmic heartbeat. Concerned, she phoned the local police, expecting reassurance. Little did she know that the voice on the other end concealed a malevolent grin. As the nights unfolded, whispers of unsettling encounters spread like wildfire. Residents began noticing peculiar footprints near their homes, as if an unseen entity had been surveying their lives. Pets howled in distress, sensing a presence that eluded the human eye. The town's once unshakable sense of security eroded with each passing day. Unanswered questions lingered in hushed conversations at the local diner, where worried faces gathered over coffee cups. Rumors of the phantom cop started circulating, a mysterious figure wearing a police uniform, appearing fleetingly at the edge of people's vision before vanishing like a ghost. Fear wrapped its tendrils around Ravenshade, and the once friendly atmosphere turned tense. The police, initially dismissive of these reports, couldn't ignore the rising tide of anxiety. Patrols increased, and an uneasiness settled over the station as officers exchanged wary glances. The town's heartbeat, once steady, now quickened with an undercurrent of fear. Little did they realize that these mysterious incidents were only the prelude to a far more sinister symphony, orchestrated by a force that reveled in the disquiet it sowed among the unsuspecting townspeople. The stage was set, and Ravenshade awaited the crescendo of horror that lurked in the shadows. It was a chilly evening, the kind that made the townsfolk seek the warmth of their homes. As dusk settled, casting long shadows across the empty streets, Mary Thompson, a schoolteacher known for her unwavering composure, found herself alone on her walk home. The street lamps hummed softly, their glow revealing an unsettling emptiness. Unease prickled at Mary's senses, and she quickened her pace. The echoes of her footsteps seemed to harmonize with a distant, ominous melody. From the shadows emerged a figure clad in the familiar blue uniform of the town's police force. The stranger's face was obscured by the dim light, and Mary's initial relief at the sight of an officer quickly turned to apprehension. The phantom cop, as described in hushed whispers, stood before her. The air grew thick with tension as Mary, usually composed, felt an inexplicable fear clutching at her heart. The stranger's eyes bore into hers, devoid of the warmth and reassurance expected from a guardian of the peace. In a voice that sent shivers down Mary's spine, the impostor spoke of an impending danger, a threat that only the vigilant could thwart. The words were cryptic, a chilling dance between persuasion and menace. The rhythmic cadence of the impostor's speech resonated in the stillness, leaving Mary paralyzed with a mixture of fear and confusion. Against her better judgment, Mary followed the phantom cop's instructions, unaware that the first notes of a sinister melody were playing. The encounter lingered in her mind like a haunting refrain, casting doubt on the very fabric of trust that had bound the town together. As Mary disappeared into the night, guided by the false protector, Ravenshade took its first steps into the heart of darkness. The ominous rhythm of the impostor's influence reverberated through the town, leaving a dissonant chord that foreshadowed the horrors yet to unfold. News of Mary Thompson's encounter with the phantom cop spread like wildfire through Ravenshade. The once unquestioning trust in the town's police force began to crumble, replaced by an unsettling skepticism that lingered in the air. Detective Sarah Turner, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for unwavering dedication, took charge of unraveling the mysterious events. Her furrowed brow and narrowed gaze reflected the gravity of the situation as she pored over the growing list of peculiar incidents. The police station buzzed with activity, but an undercurrent of tension hung in the air. Officers exchanged worried glances, uncertain whether they could trust their own ranks. Sarah delved into the labyrinth of reports, searching for patterns that could expose the impostor hiding within their midst. As the investigation unfolded, doubts surfaced not only about the phantom cop, but also about the very foundation of law and order in Ravenshade. Whispers of conspiracy and betrayal circulated among the townspeople, infecting their once unquestioning belief in the uniform. Sarah faced resistance from within her own department. Some officers dismissed the reports as mere hysteria, refusing to acknowledge the possibility of a rogue cop preying on the community. The town teetered on the edge of paranoia, caught between loyalty to its protectors and the growing realization that a threat lurked among them. The detectives' tireless efforts, fueled by a determination to restore trust, uncovered inconsistencies in the accounts of those who had encountered the phantom cop. Yet, the impostor's elusive nature remained, leaving the investigation in a perpetual dance of shadows and half-truths. Ravenshade, once a haven of security, now grappled with uncertainty. The rhythmic beat of doubt echoed through the minds of its residents as the investigation deepened, pulling the town further into the chilling embrace of the unknown. As Detective Sarah Turner continued her relentless pursuit of the phantom cop, Ravenshade became a town on edge, haunted by shadows and the unknown. The once familiar streets now seemed to whisper secrets, and the air carried an unsettling chill. Sarah's investigation led her to a series of creepy discoveries that deepened the mystery. Unearthed beneath the floorboards of the abandoned police station were old case files, each containing details of incidents mirroring those reported by the townspeople. The unsettling realization dawned that the impostor had not only infiltrated the town, but also manipulated its history. Residents stumbled upon peculiar symbols etched onto the walls of the police station, cryptic messages that hinted at a darker purpose behind the phantom cop's actions. The town's archives, once a repository of serene memories, now held clues pointing towards a malevolent force woven into Ravenshade's past. The rhythm of fear quickened as Sarah connected the dots, revealing a pattern of deception that stretched back years. The impostor had woven a web of lies, exploiting the town's vulnerabilities and preying on its collective trust. The very foundations of Ravenshade's sense of security were crumbling, and its residents found themselves ensnared in a nightmare orchestrated by an unseen conductor. Witnesses reported hearing eerie whispers echoing through the town square, carrying messages that seemed to seep into the very souls of those who listened. The once vibrant community, now gripped by fear, found itself ensnared in a symphony of dread conducted by the malevolent force that lurked within. The shadows lengthened, and Ravenshade's inhabitants faced a choice: deny the growing darkness or confront the uncomfortable truth that their town had become a stage for a sinister performance. As the creepy discoveries multiplied, the town teetered on the brink of an unsettling revelation that would expose the full extent of the Phantom Cop's influence and plunge Ravenshade into a nightmarish descent. The creeping shadows of doubt cast by creepy discoveries evolved into a looming specter that haunted every corner of Ravenshade. The once close-knit community now stood divided, as fear rippled through the town like a virus, infecting the hearts and minds of its residents. Even the familiar faces at the local diner wore expressions of unease. Hushed conversations replaced the lively banter, and eyes darted nervously, suspicious of neighbors who were once considered friends. The rhythmic pulse of fear quickened, creating a dissonant harmony that resonated through the very soul of Ravenshade. Nightfall brought a palpable tension. Residents hesitated to step into the shadows for fear that the Phantom Cop might be lurking just beyond their line of sight. Children, once free to roam the streets after dark, were now confined to the safety of their homes, their laughter replaced by anxious whispers. The police station, once a symbol of protection, became a place of suspicion. Officers exchanged wary glances, unsure if their colleagues were allies or potential threats. Trust eroded like sand slipping through fingers, leaving behind a residue of paranoia that clung to the air. Rumors of the Phantom Cop's malevolent intentions multiplied, each tale more terrifying than the last. Fearful faces peered through curtains, and every siren in the distance elicited a collective shiver. Ravenshade, once untouched by the outside world's chaos, now bore the scars of its own internal strife. The rising fear birthed an insidious form of self-policing. Every unfamiliar face became a potential threat, every shadow a possible hiding place for the imposter. The once thriving community now resembled a ghost town, its streets echoing with the haunting rhythm of trepidation. As Ravenshade grappled with the weight of its own fear, the Phantom Cop reveled in the discord it had sown. The malevolent force fed on the collective anxiety, orchestrating a symphony of terror that drowned out the town's once jubilant melody. The rising fear became a relentless crescendo, signaling the approaching climax of horror that awaited the beleaguered residents of Ravenshade. In the ominous shadow of Ravenshade's escalating fear, Detective Sarah Turner delved deeper into the twisted motives behind the Phantom Cop's malevolent charade. Each revelation unraveled another layer of the imposter's dark agenda, exposing a plot as intricate as a macabre tapestry. Sarah's investigation led her to a hidden lair within the outskirts of town, a place where the walls bore witness to the Phantom Cop's sinister machinations. Clippings, photographs, and cryptic notes adorned the space, revealing the true depth of the imposter's obsession with the town and its inhabitants. It became apparent that the Phantom Cop was not merely a rogue infiltrator, but a puppeteer manipulating Ravenshade for a malevolent purpose. Old grievances, buried secrets, and unresolved conflicts were the strings pulled by this unseen force, orchestrating a discordant symphony that would plunge the town into chaos. The imposter's true identity remained elusive, obscured by layers of deception carefully woven into the fabric of Ravenshade's history. Motivated by a vendetta rooted in the town's past, the Phantom Cop sought to sow discord, exploiting the vulnerability of its close-knit community. Sarah's findings unveiled a motive as dark and twisted as the Phantom Cop's actions. Revenge, jealousy, and a desire for control fueled the malevolent force, and Ravenshade stood at the center of its maleficent performance. The once innocent town became a pawn in a game of psychological torment orchestrated by a mind steeped in malice. As the truth unraveled, the rhythmic heartbeat of Ravenshade quickened, mirroring the rising intensity of the Phantom Cop's sinister plan. The town's residents, already ensnared by fear, now faced a revelation that transcended nightmares, a revelation that would expose not only the true identity of their tormentor, but also the collective scars buried within Ravenshade's history. The dark motives unveiled marked the prelude to a horrifying climax that loomed over the beleaguered town. As the veil of secrecy surrounding the Phantom Cop's dark motives was lifted, Ravenshade found itself at a crossroads. The revelation echoed through the town, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. Detective Sarah Turner, armed with newfound knowledge, rallied a group of determined townspeople to embark on the perilous hunt for the impostor within their midst. The air in Ravenshade crackled with tension as the group, a motley alliance of residents and law enforcement, set out under the cover of night. Armed with flashlights and an unspoken determination, they navigated the labyrinthine streets, each step amplifying the haunting rhythm of anticipation. The hunt became a relentless pursuit, guided by the clues and fragments of information unearthed during Sarah's investigation. The group, once fractured by fear, now moved with a collective purpose, driven by the shared goal of exposing the malevolent force that had ensnared their town. Every shadow became a potential hiding place, every alley a potential battleground. The rhythm of their pursuit mirrored the pulse of Ravenshade itself, quickening as they closed in on the Phantom Cop's lair. The very heart of the town seemed to beat in sync with their footsteps, resonating with the intensity of their mission. As they ventured deeper into the unknown, the group faced challenges that tested their resolve. Illusions and distractions orchestrated by the Phantom Cop sought to lead them astray, creating an unsettling dance between reality and deception. The impostor, ever elusive, seemed to anticipate their every move. The hunt for the impostor became a harrowing journey through the twisted corridors of Ravenshade's history. Clues and confrontations unveiled the extent of the malevolent force's influence, leaving the hunters to grapple with the realization that their town had been manipulated like a puppet on a string. The rhythmic pursuit intensified, reaching a crescendo as the group approached the climax of their journey. The impostor, cornered yet defiant, awaited the reckoning that loomed on the horizon. Ravenshade, caught in the throes of its own dark symphony, stood on the precipice of a confrontation that would determine its fate. The streets of Ravenshade, once calm under the moonlit night, now quivered with an ominous energy. The group, forged in the crucible of their hunt for the Phantom Cop, approached the epicenter of the malevolent force's influence. The air was charged with a palpable tension, a dissonant harmony that foreshadowed the impending confrontation. Guided by the relentless rhythm of their pursuit, the group found themselves standing before the abandoned police station, its darkened windows concealing the secrets that had fueled the Phantom Cop's reign of terror. The showdown, long anticipated, awaited them within the echoing corridors of the station. As they entered, the rhythmic pulse of their footsteps echoed through the deserted halls. Shadows danced on the walls, whispering secrets that reverberated with the history of Ravenshade. The tension mounted with each step, as if the very building held its breath, anticipating the climax that had been brewing for so long. In the heart of the station, the Phantom Cop awaited, draped in the same uniform that once symbolized safety. The malevolent force's eyes, devoid of humanity, met the unwavering gazes of those who had dared to defy its orchestrated chaos. The room became an arena, the air thick with the intensity of an impending reckoning. Words were exchanged in a dissonant symphony of accusation and revelation. The Phantom Cop's dark motives were laid bare, exposed to the harsh light of truth. Ravenshade, a pawn in the malevolent force's twisted game, stood on the precipice of reclaiming its own narrative. A confrontation ensued, a clash of wills and a struggle for control. The rhythmic heartbeat of Ravenshade quickened, mirroring the ebb and flow of the confrontation. The once ensnared town, bound by fear, now faced the choice to break free or succumb to the puppeteer's strings. The showdown unfolded like a dark ballet, each movement choreographed by the malevolent force that sought to maintain its grip on Ravenshade. The group, fueled by a collective determination, faced the imposter head-on, challenging the very foundations of the nightmare that had besieged their home. As the crescendo of the confrontation reached its zenith, the fate of Ravenshade hung in the balance. The rhythm of the town, once manipulated by the phantom cop, now trembled on the edge of a new beginning, a resolution that would either liberate the town from its tormentor or plunge it into the abyss of eternal darkness. The final notes of Ravenshade's haunting symphony echoed through the abandoned police station, marking the culmination of the town's struggle against the phantom cop's malevolent influence. The showdown had reached its zenith, and the resolution hung in the air like a heavy mist. In the aftermath of the confrontation, the malevolent force that had cast a sinister shadow over Ravenshade began to unravel. The phantom cop, stripped of its deceptive guise, stood exposed as a manifestation of the town's unresolved conflicts and buried secrets. With the revelation of the malevolent force's true nature, the town's residents faced a moment of collective catharsis. The rhythmic pulse of fear and uncertainty, once a symphony of dread, now began to wane. Ravenshade, scarred yet resilient, emerged from the darkness with a newfound strength. Detective Sarah Turner, the orchestrator of the town's redemption, stood as a symbol of unwavering determination. The residents, united by their shared ordeal, began the process of rebuilding trust and healing the wounds that the phantom cop had inflicted. The abandoned police station, once a nexus of deception, became a focal point for the town's renewal. The walls, once witness to the malevolent force's orchestration, were scrubbed clean of its lingering influence. Ravenshade's history, once distorted by the phantom cop's manipulation, was reclaimed by its resilient community. The rhythmic heartbeat of Ravenshade, now steadied by a collective resolve, echoed with a new melody, a harmony forged from the ashes of adversity. The town, once divided by fear, embraced a unity that transcended the shadows of its past. As Ravenshade moved forward, the resolution of its harrowing ordeal became a testament to the strength of community and the resilience of the human spirit. The town's symphony, once a dissonant cacophony of terror, transformed into a melody of hope and redemption. A melody that would resonate through the cobblestone streets, reminding the townspeople of their triumph over the malevolent force that had sought to shatter their harmony.